Give them an inch, they take a yard. Give them a yard, they take a mile. Once a man or twice a child. And everything is just for a while. And it seems like total destruction is the only solution. You, nobody can stop them now. Ain't no use. Nobody can stop them now. Give them an inch, they take a yard. Give them a yard, they take a mile. Once a man and twice a child. And everything is just for a while. And it is like total destruction is the only solution. Good evening, Ndigbo. Good evening, Biafrans. Good evening, Nigerians. Good evening, anybody who is listening to me anywhere in the world. This is the voice of your brother and your friend or your foe, because I already know that some people think that I'm a foe. My name is Dr. Joseph Agbo. I've decided to start today with the legend Robert Nesta Marley. We have given some people an inch, they took a yard. We have given them a yard, they took a mile. It does look like, is it total destruction that is the solution? I asked today. Today, again, we have sat at home. The second time in 4 days. The second time in 4 days. We have sat at home, and so the president could not come to Owerri, Abi. We have sat at home, and so the president's aeroplane crashed. Abi. We sat at home, and the president could not commission what he commissioned in Owerri. We sat at home, and the president was purged by the water he drank at Owerri. Abi. We sat at home, and the president's plane could not return to Abuja because we sat at home. We sat at home, and then tomorrow we will have a new country waiting for us. We sat at home, and some people are getting the psychological feeling that they have made us sit at home. Who is doing this to us? Ndigbo. The people that first arrived in Nigeria, in this space called Nigeria, and ran an Ado empire for over 1,000 years. An Ado empire, where the head was Ogene. Ndigbo that founded Ife. Go and ask an average Yoruba man, a woman who is informed. They will tell you, they know it was Ndigbo that founded Ife. We ran an empire for over 1,000 years, but because it was lying outside the route of the missionaries, they recognized only Songhai. They recognized Mali Empire, Mai Dunaiman II, and all those. They could not pick what was going on in Ado, where Ogene, what we are calling the Oni of Ife today, is not Oni. The original title was Ogene Ife. But because we lost Ogo, Ogidu Noba, the battle between Ndigbo and the Yorubas, when Queen Moremi, the head, one of the wives of the Ogene, sold the secret of the Igbo power to the Oduduwa people, and they defeated us. And we began a migration that took 300 years to this side where we are now. These people that first founded came to this space called Nigeria. Who is doing this to us? Who is doing this to Ndigbo that gave the world the father of the internet? Who is doing this to the people that gave the world the eagle on the Iroko, the father of African literature, Chino Alomogo Achebe? Who is doing this to us? The one that produced the great Zeke of Africa, the Lincoln candidate that came here and used ordinary newspaper and chased Otto Richard away after Richard Constitution was passed in 1946. Otto Richard had to run in 1947 away from Nigeria. Who is doing this to us? That produced the first major general in the Nigerian army, the first man to command African to command the UN peacekeeping force in Congo, in the whole world, Major General JTU Aguiyi. Who is doing this to us? Ndigbo, that produced a woman that shook the entire British Empire. They are bad women resistance of 1929, recorded in history, that shook the British Empire. Who is doing this to us? Who is doing this to us? Who is doing this to us, I ask Ndigbo. Who's cast this spell upon us? Who has brought us to where we sat at home 2 days in 4 days? One day, they are going to ask us to drink cool acid mixed with cyanide, like Reverend Jim Jones. And we are going to drink it. The governors are sitting down. They are not addressing it. They are not. I expected the governors to go on air and give a speech assuring everybody that they will be safe if they come out. Because people have refused to come out because they are afraid that their little business with which they are surviving with will be destroyed, that somebody is going to set it ablaze. Since they have been instructed, burn it, destroy it. When we get Biafra, we will rebuild it. Who is doing this? Who is doing this to us? Who is doing this to these talented people, these wonderful people, these great people that are ruling places in Europe and America? Who is doing this to us? I remember the book, The Amalgamation of Nigeria. If you go to page 272 of that book, A.R.M. Green, I saw something there in page 272. It says, I quote, the 3 basic principles responsible for the successful working of the Nigerian system are fear, ignorance, and military terrorism, unquote. This is, now, Ndigbo has appropriated the first 2 for themselves, while military terrorism is coming from outside. Fear and ignorance appears to be ruining us. These great heroes, are they the people who are scared like this? These same people that fought the world for 2.5 years with nothing? And we are being grounded by our own selves. Who is doing this to us? I ask you. I want to tell you, this is not funny anymore. If we don't rise up, some people are already proposing some funny options, but which I don't consider. Some people say, anywhere you see IPOB people, kill them. That is not a solution. This is what anti-IPOBism, that is anti-racial racism. We cannot return the same way they are treating us. No. We need to educate them. We need to inform them. We need to let them know. We need to de-radicalize them. We need to dehypnotize them. Because they have swallowed the tranquilizer. They have swallowed an opium. That Biafra is El Dorado. That Biafra is tomorrow. That Biafra is on the street. Ndigbo, this is not the case. I ask you to think. Think a little. Let me just tell you a few things to let you know that reason will always triumph. The first president of the United States of America, George Washington, once said that worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. Have we borrowed trouble? Why are we worried? Those who should be worried about the future and today are not bothered. I expect the bishop to call an emergency congress. I expect all the houses of assembly to call an emergency meeting. This is no longer funny. When in 2018 they said they will kill me if I go and present a paper to Biafrans at Rojeni, we thought it was a joke. When in 2019 they attacked Ike Ekweremad in Nuremberg, I was on radio, I talked about it. I told them this is not our values. This is not the way we live. This is not our life. Somebody's giving us a false identity. Somebody's threatening, giving us what we don't have, what we should not have. Somebody's interpreting our lives the way it should not be interpreted. And we are all sitting down and we are becoming very comfortable with it. I don't know what is happening to us, but I ask us to wake up. Hey, bishops, man of God, stop building temples. Wake up and pray. Wake up and call on heaven. something is happening to us, and all that we do is to take offering. No, this is no longer time for offering. It is no longer time when you drive a big jeep, you are a big man of God. It is time to get up and call on heaven. It is time to get up and behave like an Elijah and call everyone down. Call fire down if you have to, because we are already being consumed by our own selves. We need to talk to our leaders, political, spiritual, cultural, traditional, economic, intellectual. Where are the intelligentsia? Where are the professors in the universities? What are you doing? Wasn't Nnamdi correct? Nnamdi said that we are stupid, that we are fools, that the black man is a fool. Is that not what we are exhibiting? Are we fools? How are we playing into his hands? He said we are fools and we are acting like fools. Come on. I remember in 1990 at the University of Lagos, I woke up one morning on April 22 and I heard an announcement on radio. I, Major Gideon Oka of the Middle Belt and the South. And I said to myself, what kind of statement is this? How can anybody wake up in the morning and make this kind of statement in a federation? And I told them at Jaja Hall, University of Lagos, that this coup is a failure. Because everybody hated Babangida. Everybody didn't like Babangida. I didn't like him too. I didn't like the military regime. But I had enough sense in my head to know that that kind of coup cannot succeed. How can somebody say, I, Major Gideon Oka of the Middle Belt and the South, and you expect that coup? I told them this coup will be a failure. Everybody ran against me. They chased me out of Jaja Hall. I went to Academy that morning. I was there till evening. By the time I came back when the coup had failed, and I returned like a hero. And they were looking at me. And I told them, you don't need to look at me. All you needed to do was to ask yourself a few questions. How can somebody wake up, he says it's a military coup, and say, I'm a John Gideon Oka of the Middle Belt and the South? Already, you will start making people to be killed in the North. You don't need any seer to tell you that this coup will fail. Just think a little. That's what I'm asking Ndigbo to think. In 1993, when MK Abiola election was annulled. It was annulled on 24th of June. June 12th election was annulled 24th June. On 25th June, I carried placard. I trekked all the way from First Town to University of Lagos through Apapa Osho, the express road. I first went to Guardian. I went to Vanguard. I carried the placard. The placard, very big placard, alone, on my own. During the military regime, what is written there? IBB, Amaradonic and despotic antics are dangerous to Nigeria's corporate existence. You are obviously a security risk. So do me a favor, commit suicide. I carried this placard. It's still in our house in First Town in Lagos. Up to today, that placard is still in our wardrobe. And I trekked all the way till I got to the University of Lagos. And Omoyole Showore saw me and said, if you take this one outside, they will give you 1-bedroom flat at Panti. That's the police headquarters in Lagos. And I told him I trekked from First Town with this. I told them, look, this is activism at its highest level. And then they lured MK Abiola to go and declare himself president. I was in contact with some of the Nadeko people, and they continue to say MK Abiola should not be released without his mandate. And I told them, how can you be talking about this? You are technically, what you are saying is that Abiola should be released, should be sworn in as president in prison, which is not a possibility. Why don't you allow this man to be released first? Then you can begin to talk about mandate. You people are going about doing your normal businesses, sleeping with your wives, and this man is incarcerated, and you are saying he should not be released without his mandate. What are you doing? They didn't hear me. I wrote an article called Playing Russian Roulette with June 12th. And I said, if MK Abiola died in prison, it's all you Nadeko buffs that have killed him. That article is in my book at times like this. You know the story. You know what happened. When the 5 political parties adopted General Sani Abacha as the president, as a consensus president, I wrote an article in newspaper. I call it Democracy Without Options in Vanguard, 1998. I wrote another article to General Abacha asking him not to accept the offer so that he can be a hero. I told him, Abacha, I titled that article, Love Letter to General Abacha. It's still in my book at times like this. That article, Democracy Without Option, is still in my book at times like this that I published this year. A collection of my newspaper articles that I wrote between 1998 and 2003. You will see there are historical issues there to be discussed. You all know what happened to Abacha. You all know what happened to Abiola. In 1999, when Masob began, I studied what Masob was doing. And I felt this is too privatized to make any impact. In 2000, I wrote an article. I titled it, Masob, When Biafra Becomes an Opium. And I said, look, that if we need Biafra, that it is not going to be a private affair. It's not going to be a one-man affair. 21 years after, I think I'm still right. 21 years after, I think I'm still right. Let us fast forward to 2010. I was in touch with the leaders of MEN, the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta. Before the independence of October 1, 2010, they said they were going to explode bombs at very close to Eagle Square. I told them, it is not necessary. Why don't you get a placard? They said, no, they want to explode bomb. I said, you don't need to explode bomb. It's not necessary. It won't solve any problem. They didn't hear me. They went and exploded bombs. You know the story. That is now history. You know the story. Where is MEND? Where do people take adventurous actions? Actions that have no contribution to the struggle. Fast forward again to 2014. We met a man called Benjamin Onwuka, the leader of the Biafran Zionist movement. He said he was going to jump Enugu State Government House to go and hoist Biafran flag. We told him, there, if you jump Enugu State Government House and hoist Biafran flag, why are you doing that? He said, so if Biafran flag is flowing at Enugu State Government House, so what would that do to us? We told him, even if you want to go, why don't you go through the gate? Must you jump? He didn't listen. They went and jumped in the night. One of them was shot dead, and the rest were arrested. They were incarcerated for nearly 2 years. And the lawyer was moving, and until he got him bail, and there was nobody to sign the bail bond. And I gathered 3 of my friends, and we put our things together, our documents together, our passports, to go and sign the bail bond. And when we gave the lawyer the documents, we wanted to walk away. The lawyer called us and he said, is that all? We said, yes. What is any other problem? The lawyer said he thought that we are going to ask for money. I said, to go and sign the bail bond? He said, yes. I said, yes, the man, Yoroshino Noka. In fact, on Yoroshinime vestry, he desecrated the vestry. He desecrated the altar, not just inside the church. But he's still Nwafibo. We cannot allow him to rot in jail. You mean you expect us to collect money? This is the situation we find ourselves, friends. All the situation is all about money. And we said, so this is how we have degenerated. We have degenerated so low that we need to collect money to go and sign the bail bond. We shook our heads and walked away. My friend went to Owerri to go and grant the man bail. He refused to see us. He came out. I don't know how he managed to come out. He came out and declared himself president of Biafra, and included even Jerry Ghana in the Council of Ministers. Where is the Biafran Republic that is president today? What is all this? 2017, May 8, I met Nnamdi Kanu in a private meeting 2 weeks after he was released from Kuje prison. And I told him, my friend, my brother, if they kill 1 million people on that street, they will say it's Nigeria's internal affairs. Let us go and adopt a new strategy. We don't need to kill one more person that dies out of this. Would be a waste. That was when he was saying there should be no election in Anambra State. And I said, if there is no election in Anambra State, what have you achieved? I asked him, do you have the capacity to stop the election? It was after that meeting, they came out and they started talking about boycott. And I said, if you boycott, you pay for it. Because the kind of liberal democratic system we're operating now, there is nothing like quorum. If there are 2 million voters and 10 people comes out to vote, and 6 votes for the winner, that winner will be declared, and he's pretend over 6 million people. So, if we abdicate our rights, it is for us to pay. I'm giving you this example to show you adventurous, foolhardy decisions that people have taken and where it has landed them. We are taking the same thing now in Igbo land. We are being told to stay at home. In 2023, this is where the target. Maybe that's why the governors, the politicians are not talking. They like it. They don't want us to come out en masse. They don't want them. They don't want us to vote them out.